Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I just want to actually clarify something. Although she said Ronald actually went to bed. She has to wake up early.
Okay, that's fine.
She said that I'm not too handsome when I shapeshift. But what's really interesting is she describes it kind of like reptilian in a sense, but the thing is my heart doesn't match the looks of it. Like I've got the kindest heart in the world. I care for everybody. I spread kindness. I'm very giving and everything. So it's really interesting, you know, how I look like a reptilian in a sense. Like we still haven't seen a picture that's similar. We came close, but you know, not quite. We're trying to pinpoint what type of race this would be. But like I said, Graham Conway and I, we really getting to know each other because, you know, he sent me to hypnosis and all that sort of thing. We were, he was really investigating me. And then he said, we're going to meet in the new year. So give me a call in the new year. I've got a gift for you. And so, no, he said he was going to call me. So January went by and I'm like, I wonder why Graham never called me, you know? And then in February, I ended up, I wanted to call him. So I went online to UFO BC, and that's where I saw the message that he passed away.
Yes.
But before I can get close to him, and we were getting quite close over these like phone conversations and lengthy investigating. Like we were on for like 3 hours. He was asking me questions and all that sort of thing. I was showing him pictures, sending back and forth. And I was sad to see that he passed away. And I couldn't believe it. So well, I let time go by. I let time go by because I want people to mourn. And then I contacted them and I said, "Has anybody taken over the investigation?" And they said no, and they couldn't find any file related to me.
Oh,
it's like everything, all the work that he's done just disappeared.
I just want to mention with the Graham Conway, like UFO BC still continues. Richard Tortorella is their president. I used to be an associate with theirs around 2011, and Martin Jasic. They're all in Langley, Delta, Surrey area. They still have meetings. I was talking to Martin a few months ago. They got 2 new guys now, and David Pengelly. They've continued on for like 20 years. They're still there. Richard Tortorella is their president. You can email them and stay in touch. Maybe they'll.
You know what? I've been through so much investigating with Graham Conway. I'm not going to go through that again. Plus, you know, like I have a whole new outlook. I've already done my investigating. I already know who I am, what others are. And yeah, I don't need to anymore. You know, back then when I was talking to Graham, I was actually almost there, like in search of who I am and all that, and all these things happening to me, and photographic evidence, you know, handprints on my chest that doesn't match mine, and on mirrors and all that sort of thing. And so now, I mean, I have all the answers now, so no, I don't have to get in touch with them. I was just sad to see Graham go, that's all.
Yeah, they spoke really highly of him, and I think he died because of an alien experience, right, Gordy? He had some encounter.
People in UFO BC were told by Graham that he had become an abductee. And after this abduction, you know, I don't know how long it was between his first abduction experiences and when he came down with meningitis. But Dr. Carla Turner said that there's many abductees that have, you know, infections, gynecological problems. Carla Turner herself was came down with some kind of rapid-acting cancer, and she died from that cancer. Some of these people were disease-free before their abduction.
Other people have gotten healed from abduction experiences.
Well, here's the other side of it. There are people that claim that they've been healed by, you know, Doug or Grant.
All you talk about.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Do you have a question or a comment?
No, yeah, I was just kind of chiming in with Brian there. A lot of people have also talked about getting healed by, you know, extraterrestrial abductions.
Okay, that is true.
Right.
And like Valiant Thor claimed he could heal people. In fact, there was a case when Dr. Strange was in the hospital, and Valiant Thor, or maybe some other members of the crew, came to visit him in hospital, and Dr. Strange was healed by Valiant Thor. Okay.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
so if we call healing something benign, and it appears that way, there are cases of healing though, because the person, he's, let's say, a shaman, or someone who claims to have a Reiki spirit guide. You've heard of spirit guides?
Yes.
And so there are spirits that are associated with various forms of spirituality, and in certain religions, like within the Christian faith, there's been a long history of healing. You know, Jesus healed people. He delivered people from demonic possessions and so on. And so healing was something that was greatly practiced by the early church. And there's still people of certain denominations that heal the sick. But there are people that have the gift of healing, but they're not really, let's say, what's the best way of putting it? They claim that their spirit guide, like I have a friend named Ray Youngie, he's passed away, but he did a lot of research on Reiki. It's a kind of an energy healing method.
Yep.
And in order to be a Reiki master, you have to be introduced or acquire a number of spirit guides. Some people that can tell people's fortunes, or give, kind of like Nostradamus, or there's a woman in the book of Acts, and she had an ability to foretell fortunes. She was a slave, and she had an ability, but it was through a spirit that she had inside of her, a spirit guide. Now, a spirit guide, see, the spirit that provides healing in the Christian faith is supposed to be the Holy Spirit. There's a gift of the Holy Spirit, a gift of healing. But it is possible for healing to come from other spirits. So we have what are called spiritualistic churches, we have shamans, we have energy healers, psychic healers, and they do healings as well. Maybe beings we call ET, or, that have this ability to heal. But healing alone is not a sign of that these people are, let's say, are truly spiritual or truly benign. Okay, because there's a dark side to shamanism. There's a dark side to some of the healing that occurs, like for instance, chiropractic healing. The founder of the chiropractic movement was I think his name was Palmer. He said he got his healing method from the spirit world. He was a practicing spiritualist. So the spirits taught him how to heal people. Edgar Cayce claimed he had contact with beings that in the Akashic record that gave him prescriptions or ways to heal people.
That was good, right? Those are some good examples.
Well, there's examples of people that seem to genuinely have a gift of healing, but then there's people that claim to be prophets, even in certain Christian denominations, and they don't have the fruit of a real prophet. They want money from people.
You're always going to get that, right? You can get good ones and bad ones and charlatans.
So there's a concept of false messiahs, false prophets, another spirit that can heal or harm people. And so just because a healing occurs, we have to examine the philosophy and the teaching and the worldview from the healer as well. Where do they get their healing ability? Do they always have this power and ability?
That's a very good question. Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Because I have been in certain churches, and the way some people in certain churches claim they received the Spirit of God and speak in tongues. Have you heard of tongue speaking in some denominations?
Yeah.
Anyways, there's supposed to be a genuine gift of tongues, but there's also among researchers and people with discernment that there's a counterfeit tongue. Yep. When a person receives a spirit in a Bible prayer meeting, and they're chanting the name of Jesus, they say the word Jesus over and over and over again, almost like a mantra. They can go into an altered state of consciousness, and a spirit will come into that person, and that person will speak in tongues. But they can't stop speaking in tongues for half an hour sometimes. And sometimes it's not just speaking in tongues. They're rolling around on the ground. There's animal sounds coming out of their mouth. There's laughter, uncontrollable, hysterical laughter coming out of their mouth. They almost seem to be in some kind of trance, and yet they claim it's the Holy Spirit. Well, one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit that they lack is something called temperance. There's the fruit of the Spirit and the gifts of the Spirit. Temperance means self-control. You don't lose self-control when you're under the influence of the Holy Spirit. But when you go into an altered state and you become a medium and mediumistic healer, sometimes it requires you to allow a spirit to channel through you, to channel that healing. You can't just do it out of your own, own strength. And Christians that have the genuine gift of healing, they have to have a pretty close relationship with God. They can't be involved with any kind of mystical forms of meditation or prayer or contemplation or guided image or spiritual exercises.
But that's under the gut. You're saying that mystical forms of healing are not God. So that's
no. I'll clarify that. The word mysticism. The word mysticism is a very broad term.
Very broad.
Today.
Yeah.
So spirituality can mean you're a follower of the Krishna movement, you're a follower of Wicca, you're a follower of neo-paganism. So there are spirits that work with people of all different religions. Okay.
Yes.
And some of these spirits have an unfallen nature. Okay. And if they are really spirits that come from God, angels or spirits of God, they will reveal further revelation and truth to that person, so they do understand the grace and God and atonement of Christ, that they are loved by God, they're precious to God, and that they don't need to have their will violated in any means. But the spirits
Gordy,
that are
you're
not
talking
of God,
from a Christian perspective, right?
of
Yeah.
course.
So I've done Buddhist channeling practice, and we're really warned about it. I mean, you could get good ones or bad ones. You're not sure what you're getting.
That's right.
Not recommended. Some people do it,
Well, Jesus said that you can tell a tree by its fruit.
Well, thank you.
If the tree bears bad fruit, rotten fruit, and destroys lives and makes people mentally ill or sick or paranoid, well, that's not the fruit of the Spirit of God. Okay, so the Spirit of God brings love, joy, peace, patience, graciousness, mercy, kindness. A form of, almost like a form of what is called agape love or unconditional love. But spirits that channel or heal people that are not of that nature, that are not the Spirit of God, they can cause people to feel good for like you go to a chiropractor, you might feel good for half an hour or an hour or a few days, but then after a few days all the pain comes back and you have to go back to the chiropractor and pay him more money. That's the truth of some Reiki healers. Some Reiki healers can make you feel good for an hour or two. Remember, Brian, you went to this fellow Jack?
Jack who?
Jack, there's a fellow that did a kind of a healing deliverance thing over you for about an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
Well, you felt good for a while, and you felt great. But after a while, all the good feelings went away.
Oh yeah, it passes. Yeah.
It passes, and it passed in a very short time. So I'm suspicious of healing that is quite temporal, and there's side effects to this healing. And if you start to, let's say, experience side effects that are very negative, you start to experience let's say periods where your mind just goes blank, or you feel like you're losing control or something, and that has come from some type of spirit healing. That is not the Spirit of God. It's something else. And these spirits are called seducing spirits, familiar spirits, And they also deliver doctrines to people and philosophies to people. And there's a way to test the spirits whether they are good or not. And it's but it's not only by a good tree produces good fruit, but it's also what are they revealing to you? What are they teaching you? If you look at the teaching of some of the leaders of various UFO religions and cults, one example is Marshall Applegate. Applegate. He was the head of the Heaven's Gate cult. Okay. Well, what did he say to his followers or people in his movement, Heaven's Gate? That in order to release their spirit to join this UFO, they had to shed their bodies. They drank poison or something, right? And killed all the members. Pretty well died. Now, did their spirits really go to this UFO that was coming with Hale Bopp? How can you verify whether they went or not? But we have a bunch of dead bodies that say, well, they're dead, And there's other cults like Solar Temple. It's supposed to be somewhat of a UFO cult. Again, you have people murdering each other. There's a UFO religion or cult in Colombia, South America. They were told that the bunch of them, I think there was over 100 members or something. They were told to go up to the mountains and a UFO would appear, and they would be, they went up to the mountains looking for the UFO, but all of them disappeared. We don't know what has happened to them. We have the case of Granger Taylor in Duncan, BC. I think it was back in the 80s. He claimed to have UFO encounters, and he was promised that he was going to be given a 2-month ride in the UFO for 2 months. 2 months, and he would be returned. Well, one stormy November evening, he drove his vehicle up this hill where he was told to meet. They found his vehicle later, but they couldn't find his body. So we don't know, but he didn't show up after 2 months. And the people in this UFO religion, the people that went up to the mountains, they were never seen again. So we don't know what's happened to them. It'd be nice if they, everything was well for them, but I don't know. It's very hard to find out what's happened to these people that have disappeared. And so there's getting to be more and more people disappearing today, sometimes under paranormal or mysterious circumstances, according to David Pilates and other researchers. And sometimes it's related to seeing lights in the sky, and also people being teleported from one location quickly to another. People, their memories are wiped. If they're young children, they don't know how they got from one location to another 20 miles away, where they're eventually found, or they're found on a trail that searchers have investigated and didn't find this child before, and then all of a sudden they show up. There was a case Pilates mentioned in Mount Shasta, where there's a little boy, he was camping with his parents, and suddenly he was by himself for a while, and this lady said, "I'm your grandmother, and follow me." And so the child follows his grandmother into a cave, and the grandmother says, I have a piece of paper. Can you poo on this piece of paper? The little boy said,
that.
Yeah, the little boy said, well, I don't have any poo right now. I can't give you any poo. But anyways, that grandmother disappeared. Whatever it was not the grandmother.
No.
Okay. Doug, one day, he was at home, and he thought his wife just came through the door, but she wasn't supposed to be home at that time. So this person that looked like his wife, and this has happened to our abductees. So this woman walks through the hall, kind of looks like his wife, and then leaves without saying hardly anything. And then later, his real wife shows up, and Grant says, "Hey, weren't you home earlier today?" And she said, "No, I haven't been home." So we have a phenomenon called doppelgangers, beings that look like us or look like someone we love or know. And there's a case in the States where a woman saw a doppelganger of her husband, and this doppelganger acted strangely, didn't act like the normal person she knew as her husband. Well, it wasn't her husband. So there are beings that can shapeshift. They can look like you or me, or to look like anything they want. They shapeshift and appear in many forms. So that is part of the phenomena, but it's also part of the realm of what we call fallen spirits or demonic entities. Now, demonic entities may not be angels. They're supposed to be the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim that died. So they don't have bodies now, but they're looking for bodies to possess. So if you are possessed by the spirit of a Nephilim,
oh, that's no good.
that may not be good.
No.
You may shapeshift sometimes when you don't want to shapeshift. Okay, and there are people. Has anybody heard about adrenochrome?
Adrenochrome?
Adrenochrome.
Oh yeah, we've heard about this. This is some kind of weird thing that some people are apparently stealing from kids or something like that. I only found out about this 5 years ago, and I don't really quite understand. But
this substance, adrenochrome, is kind of an oxidized form of adrenaline. But when children are terrified or scared or fearful, the adrenal glands create this adrenochrome. When people drink this adrenochrome, and it's not cheap sometimes to get hold of this stuff, it can make you feel young again. It can make you feel, hey, you feel more energetic, you feel youthful. Your skin might look better. You just might have more libido or whatever it is. But what are the side effects? Well, you may feel high for a while, you might feel good, but then when the stuff wears off, then you're back to your old self. In fact, there's possibilities that some celebrities that are using this stuff too much start to age faster if they don't keep drinking this adrenochrome or drinking human blood. And the blood has to be from young children, not from old people. They've done experiments
in a lab as well, right? It can be
they've done
artificially
lab experiments where they've taken the blood of very young mice and they put it into older mice, and it appears that the young blood in these mice, in these older mice, makes them appear to be youthful again for a while. They become, like they're not so old anymore. So some people that have a lot of money and that can get blood transfusions from young children, or unfortunately, some of these children may not be volunteering their blood. And that's where we hear rumors of Pizzagate and children that are brought into certain places or certain places where they're kept in captivity, they're terrorized, and then this adrenochrome is harvested from them.
I wanted to ask the person who's the shapeshifter. Is he still here with us?
Andrew.
Another Andrew. There's two Andrews?
Yeah, Andrew right here.
Okay. I wanted to ask Andrew if he would like to speak, because he said he knows what these things are and he knows what he is and the experience. And I would love to hear about it, actually. If Andrew?
Yeah,
hello? If you'd be interested in talking to us, I'd certainly be interested in booking you.
Well,
yeah, we could do that.
Thanks. It all started, the reason why I went to my first UFO meetup group was because I needed answers at the beginning, I found implants in my leg in the same hole 2 years apart. I pulled one out from deep inside my leg, no bleeding or anything. And 2 years later, there was another one in the same hole 2 years later, and I pulled that one out. And I guess they thought that, oh, wow, this guy's a little bit of a nuisance. Let's put it somewhere where he can't reach it, So I've woken up with handprints on my chest, which I have photographed. Doesn't match mine. The handprints last for like maybe 2 hours or so. So it wasn't just like a pressure handprint. It was more, the only way I can explain it is, I would say it was more radiation than anything. And then after that, when I met Gina at the UFO meetup group, we were actually dating for about 2 years. When she was in a certain brain frequency, that's when she saw what was underlying, kind of thing, you know. And,
Right.
And then after, when I left her, it just didn't work out, you know. And I met Ronna Lee, and she has abilities as well. And so when she was in this certain brainwave as well, that's when she saw it, and she, oh my gosh, like she was so emotional, crying, scared, everything, you know. And then after the second time that she saw it, that's when I don't look at her in the eyes anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be more than willing to, you know, I have so much to tell. I know I've been taken so many times. Ronna Lee has been impregnated, where they actually told her that they were coming back in 19 days to retrieve the fetus. And so basically we didn't understand the 19 days part, right? And so we looked it up, and that's actually the what do they call it, the first trimester or something like that. But anyways, she felt them come, and she felt this cord being pulled from inside her out, you know, down her leg and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of experiences and all that. I mean, I don't mind talking about it. But I'm just wondering, I mean, you know, since it's summertime pretty much, you know, like we don't actually have to meet indoors. I mean, this coronavirus is nothing but a farce and a hoax.
Yeah, it is.
I've got the letter from World Health Organization that actually was sent out to all the medical professionals all around the world, saying if they don't know what somebody died of and they suspect COVID, to put the cause of death as COVID.
Yes, I've heard that too.
I have that letter, and my aunt passed away about 4 weeks ago. And when we asked what was the cause of death, they said it was her heart. Her heart gave out. Well, when we were arranging the funeral 1 week later, that's when we found out that the cause of death was placed as COVID-19. The family's livid, and they're investigating, and they want answers as well, because she did not die of COVID. That's where the overinflated numbers are. So I don't care. I mean, we can all gather. I don't care about social distancing. I haven't had the flu in over 30 years. I haven't had a cold in over 25 years.
Got a little story myself about my, I spend my winters in Mexico normally. And a friend of mine, her uncle fell off a ladder and broke his skull. And he died in the hospital. This was just about a month ago, I guess. And they took him to the hospital, and he died. And they made the death certificate as COVID, and he had a broken skull. He had nothing to do with COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, the numbers are being fattened
Inflated.
up.
Yeah.
Backyard. And we've seen these 4 bright white lights in the sky, and they're too high to be airplanes. And you hear my dad in the video. I don't know where it is anymore, because this is back in the 80s. We moved to BC from Ontario like eons ago. But anyways, you hear the video. I remember my dad saying they're too high to be aircraft, and they're too fast, and they're so perfectly aligned. And they were going so fast at a high altitude, they should have made a noise. You know, they could have easily, because we live in an area where the aircraft fly overhead all the time. And we know the difference what an aircraft is and what these things were. My dad used to work for the airlines. And so he knew exactly what aircraft can do and can't do. So anyways, I met the man in black one day walking down the street, and they knew about the video. And they told me to get rid of the video. They look like something from the Blues Brothers is the best I could describe it.
Seriously? They really look like that?
Voice, like when they spoke, it looked like a foreign movie, like, you know, some foreign movie that was dubbed into English. That's best I could describe as what it is. I met them. They were really menacing. They knew everything about the movie. They told me that they get rid of it. They threatened me.
Well, you and I maybe we'd like to be a guest speaker sometime as well, Andrew. You're in Surrey, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We definitely encourage that. We encourage our members to come on and tell their story, you know.
Probably. The first thing is that you were mentioning, I was just giving you a bit of background about my experiences. I did meet Men in Black. I've always wanted to capture one of them. You know, I want to play 20 million questions. I want to figure out like who and what they are. You know, give a real, you know, like the Missouri says, the show me state. That's their slogan, the show me state. Well, I'm sort of like that, you know, show me. You know, I want to talk to one of these guys, right? I want to find out what's the real truth going on other than just speculating and guessing and second guesses and what other people say, right? I want to hear out of the horse's mouth, so to speak. That's my idea. But anyways, my question is to Gordy is, have you ever heard that the UFO aliens are actually giving us hand-me-down technology, technology that's actually been you know, discontinued with them? It's sort of handed down to us. We're getting their second-hand technology, so to speak, while they have the more advanced.
Where did you hear? Where did you hear
the other
that?
thing is that I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Well, Gordy, you and I were
We've heard
talking
that,
earlier today
many
about
times.
Trojan horse technology that Gordy was telling me they gave us this technology so we could build it up so that they can enslave us with the New World Order. We need to have the technology up to a level so the New World Order can enslave us. So my thesis, like Richard Dolan, is that the elites are actually working with aliens. So the human elite are subservient. Richard Dolan said that, and he had a big June 6th one-day seminar. He's pretty conservative as UFO historian. So you want to comment on that, Gordy? First, I want to say thank you, Gordy, for a great talk. And we've done this our 6th video together. So we can always have Gordy back too if we're running out of things to talk about. Gordy can talk.
Well, thank you for having
thank
me
you, Gordy.
with your
That's
Zoom
great.
tonight.
Yeah,
I was happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just got a call while we were on Zoom
Thank you.
from a fellow who said he had a UFO encounter in California. I don't know how he heard of it. You know, anyways, I have a UFO paranormal help hotline. It's on Craigslist, and I guess he called me.
Oh.
I'm going to call him later. But I have a friend who's done a lot of work, research on the World Order movement. He lives in Manitoba. His name is Carl Tykrib. You can see some of his videos on my YouTube channel, Noah's Dove. And Carl has done a lot of research into the interfaith parliament world religions movement and how it's related, that it could be related to some kind of spiritual foundation or worldview to support a new world order. He's been involved with a lot of United Nations conferences. He's a really good researcher and speaker, and he's the author of the book Game of Gods. So if he's willing to join us sometime, I think he would like. He's very, very knowledgeable about this whole New World Order movement or agenda.
Can you invite him, Gordy, please?
I was speaking to him today, and I told him about the Meetup group. So if he's able to, I don't know what time is best for him, but if he's able to, but if you want to see some of his research and interviews already, it's on my YouTube channel called Noah's Dove. So he is actually quite concerned about this emerging New World Order. But behind the New World Order, there is a spirituality, or what they call a one world religion as well. And he's done research on the Parliament world religions and how that could be a part of it. But also there are what are called unitive mystical experiences that are experienced in a lot of different religions. And these unitive mystical experiences could provide, again, a spirituality and a concept that would bring all world religions together, which is not necessarily a good thing. You know, I mean, it's good that all religions love each other and are not hostile to each other. That's fine. But this idea that it doesn't matter what you believe, no matter what it is. And if you include religions, you have to include all religions, not just the main world religions. There's religions, like I say, there's some religions that are involved with spells, curses, you know, some pretty heavy stuff out there, and even groups that are Satanists. So you can't unite all these religions together, even if people claim to have shared unitive mystical experiences. But if he's able to come on, maybe we can have him come and be a speaker.
What's the YouTube channel again?
Zoom is good. Anyone, anywhere, we can get on a Zoom, you know. We
Yeah,
can Zoom
it'd be easy
anytime,
for
you know,
him
doesn't
to,
cost
and I
nothing.
have another researcher in Detroit. His name is Jim Williamson. He's a former abductee, and he became a pastor to bikers. But anyways, he's a really neat guy, and he was the one that helped Al Matthews when he was troubled, and helped him to find peace despite all the paranoia he had. So if he's willing to come on sometime, that'd be great.
What was the YouTube channel name again?
If you go to YouTube and type in Noah's Dove, NOAH''SDOVE, that's my YouTube channel, and you can recognize it. You'll see a white square with a blue dove.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks.
Click on that, and there's stuff about UFOs.
I want to learn more about the New World Order stuff.
Well, there's New World Order stuff. There's Gary Kaw, Carl Tykrib. Those are the two best researchers on my YouTube channel.
But your videos, Gordy, you don't have them on your channel yet. The 5 ones that you and I did, you haven't put them on your own channel, right?
No.
You're free to copy them. They're on the Brian Root channel. If you can spell R-U-H-E,
I could put it up there. I have to download it. I was having problems downloading at first, downloading some stuff. And when I put it up, there was no audio. You know, I think, right now, people can't even, there's some censorship of my YouTube channel. Comments are gone. People, and more documentation I put up is gone. So there's some type of censorship going on. With,
I'm on my 11th channel now. I got 2,000 videos on BitChute. That's free, but YouTube not as many.
If you put certain things that are considered to be controversial, not politically correct, or you're against the New World Order or whatever.
For Trump, they'll delete your channel.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can be demonetized or censored, or even booted off of YouTube altogether.
But
but guess what, guys?
Fine, right?
If you don't want to be booted, if you play some Kim Kardashian, you'll get lots of hits, and no one will even censor you.
Yeah, definitely. If you put somebody like Kim on, or you get more viewers, anyways, and more hits.
Hey, Joseph, are you going to tell us about Area 51 where you worked? Joseph told me he had an oath of secrecy. He said, oh, it's nothing much there. So, what does he know? To say that must mean he saw something. What can you tell us, Joseph? Woo!
It's early morning here. We're gonna save that for another conversation.
He's being evasive. He must have seen flying saucers like Bob LeVar. He's being evasive. He must have seen something. He's a big building contractor, like big projects, right? He's a real high level guy, Joseph.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have him here, He was my successor. I had the UFO meetup from 2009 to 2016, and then Joseph had it. And now Mimi's extra organizer here, I should mention here.
Yeah,
I guess Mimi and I can talk about the next meeting. Go ahead, Joseph.
I was just saying it was a good group. It's a good group to have. I mean, when you were running it, and now it's still alive. It's good to have this type of information out there so people can have these discussions, right?
Yeah.
When Joseph, when you left, I wanted to take over. Remember, you posted that you wanted someone to take over.
Yes.
That was me. I wanted to take over, but I think you never saw. I think your meetup was already finished by the time I responded to you.
Yeah. They only give you 30 days, right? Because they want to collect their money. So when I was leaving, I posted, and then I don't think I heard back. And then once the 30 days lapsed, my account with
I definitely wrote you back.
Died. Okay.
I definitely wrote you back because I think it's important as a city to have a UFO group. I mean, really,
That's encouraging. We have like 13 people tonight. This is good because you never know who you're going to meet. We had Prem. He lives in Vancouver. He's an abductee. He's publishing a book. He gave me the draft of his book. Amazing experiences. And he's had positive abduction experiences. He was our guest. You can see his picture on our UFO meetup site. So you never know who's in the city of Vancouver, right? Abductees, all
our
kinds
group
of people.
is definitely growing. We have 71 members now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good group.
Nice. And Kelly's had experiences too. I don't know if you want to share that, Kelly, or would you ever want to talk about your experiences?
Had to unmute there. It's, getting kind of late in the night here, but
No, we mean another time.
No. It's early. It's not even 9 a.m. yet. I'm not having made breakfast. It's plenty of time.
Yeah, for sure. Sure, another time I'll talk.
Yeah, you could be a guest speaker. You're gonna have 2 guest speakers at once, so people can't talk for like Gordy could talk for 2 hours straight, but some of you, maybe Kelly, you could come on sometime. Yes, everyone's linked on Meetup, right? We can get in touch with you through the links on Meetup.
Yeah. Brian, I need to make another phone call and sign off. I really thank you for having me on, and
Thank you, Gordy. Thanks for
share
coming.
some of the
Thank
research, and I'll be happy to join you guys again. And yeah,
we'll have
I
you
mean,
back. Yeah.
we can all learn from each other. Nobody knows everything, you know, and we can help each other, you know, understand this puzzle or connect the dots. So I hope, yeah, as we are willing to listen to each other and look at credible research, maybe we can figure out what's going on. I think we may have some ideas what's happening, but I don't think anybody has the full picture.
No, and I think there's many more there's more than one picture. You know, I think that's what the problem is.
There's definitely different interpretations of this phenomenon. That's definitely true. Even among ufologists, they don't all agree about everything. So,
well, thank you so much, Gordy. That was very, very interesting. And I'm gonna check out those Watcher books and maybe talk to you about that sometime.
Yeah,
did you join the group?
Anybody who wants to contact me, you know, you can get my email or my my phone number. Brian can give it out to anybody, and I'm willing to, you know, chat with anybody. You know,
and you're on Meetup, right? They can just see Gordy, right? Gordy.
Yeah, they can contact me somehow. But
through Meetup, they can send you.
No, yeah, but did you become a member of our group?
Yeah,
okay. So
yes,
anyone can contact you that way.
Anybody can contact me and, you know, share their experiences and so on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
so
having
good night,
you on, Gordy.
And,
thank you, Gordy.
It was nice to meet everyone.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
nice
bye for now. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye. Hey, Brian, I have a question for you.
Yeah, I can stick around if we can plan other meetings and stuff, I guess. Or we
I'm
have
still here.
Yeah, Andrew, it's the first time we talked in person. You were at a meeting 10 years ago, right?
Yep, I was.
Yeah.
Yep. Quick question. How do you believe the validity of the reports? Because the reports be falsified all the time, right? So how do you believe the validity, right? Like the U.S. government under Majestic 7 by Truman was told to put out false information to basically to say that you're a crackpot and you're crazy. In Schwartzfeld jumped off of 13th floor, I believe, at the Bethesda Naval Hospital. So I mean, like, how true do you believe the reports versus, you know, what the lie is? You know, just basically to keep the game going. You know, to just put out false reports just to keep people going and looking at the wrong direction.
Well, I think Majestic 12 was real, and yeah, they're giving out disinformation because Donald Menzel was one of Majestic 12, and he was an astronomer at Cornell University, insisting that UFOs didn't exist. But I think Majestic 12 was real, and yeah, you mentioned James Forrestal was thrown out the window, maybe probably because he wanted to get the UFO truth out to the world.
Well, it was, Brian, but you got to also remember the historical context in which it took place, right? The height of the Cold War. At that time, after World War II, the new agencies that were coming up. So you had the NSA, the CIA, which was in its formative years. Just like any agencies, government agencies compete for funding. So going to using a real life example, when people were mentioning on this call about COVID, doctors labeling patients that died of a car accident COVID deaths. There's an agenda, but sometimes the agenda can be quite bland. The agenda, for example, is also funding. If a hospital has X number of COVID cases, then they get X number of grants for X number of respirators. There was an entire mindset back then for that. And obviously what you're seeing now with, for example, the U.S. Navy and the DOD declassifying certain unidentified flying object videos, that would never have happened 40 or 50 years ago. But again, the mindset back then was we need, if we can do something in a vacuum, we're going to get more funding than the newly formed NSA or the DOD or one of the other branches. So there's a lot of underlying reasons for what was going on back then after the Second World War.
I saw a really interesting.
Took out its own power. Yeah, go ahead.
I saw a very, very interesting video that had all the Nazi vehicles, that were being seen at the time. And there's, you know, I saw the plans, like the engineers' drawings and everything of these things. And I think that that was part of it also. They wanted to keep it under wraps because really some of this stuff was flying around and they didn't know what it was. At the time, they didn't know if it was German or what. You know, I think that they probably didn't even think it was alien. They probably thought that it was part of the war, you know? So I think that that was part of it as well.
So I guess, Joseph, you're saying the secrecy took on a power of its own, and once it became secret, they couldn't make it unsecret. It just gets
yeah.
I
mean, just look at it today. If you're the director or the managing director of a medical facility, and you've just signed off that you had 2,000 COVID deaths, when in reality you had 200, but because you needed a grant, are you going to backtrack on that? Your entire livelihood is at stake here. You'd be, well, you could be fired. So you're not going to backtrack on what you signed off on. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It steamrolls. Once you create a lie, it's unless you get caught, it's very, very hard to untangle it. It's like a snowball. It eventually breeds a life of its own, and you can't backtrack on that because now you retire, I take over. Well, now I've taken over all your lives. I can't backtrack on that. My career is at stake. My pension's at stake, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're afraid of going to jail. Richard Dolan said a lot of those people are afraid of going to jail. That's why they won't release the secret, because say, how come they didn't give us this free energy back in 1947? You know, you're holding all this stuff back.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it, right? Is the knowledge that of all that stuff that we could be having right now, all the great medical stuff. And when I had my abduction, I know you know, Brian, because of our interview, but when I was on the ship, there was the same technology that we have now with our tablets, you know, where your finger, it was flat screen TV. It was 1968, early 1968. There were no flat screen TVs, but this thing had a big home entertainment television inside the ship. And, you know, the being was using his finger to show me these images, and the images were actually kind of like virtual reality. So even in my own experience, there was such advanced technology that was happening in my own thing, and it's taken 50 years for that technology to come down to us.
You should tell me about your video on the Brian Root channel. I did the 2 hours with Mimi up to age 17. So if you go to Google or YouTube, just type in Mimi Nelson Brian Root, you'd find the video. We still have to finish your video, Mimi, after age 17. Yep. Get on Skype again.
Yep.
Well, you know, I believe that the U.S. government does have a lot of technology, advanced technology that they're slowly releasing, because if you were to release flat screen TVs and all that technology in the 60s, you know, it could be the implications could be disastrous, right? So it's just slowly coming out, because if you're to release everything all at once, like let's say they have the transport beam from Star Trek, because Gene Roddenberry supposedly did work with the UFO technology community and did possess some technology. So if we came out all at once, this technology, you know, what would happen? It could crash the system, or a whole bunch of things could happen, right? So that's why they're coming out very slowly with all this new technology.
It crashes the system, and also it gives a major field advantage to our own enemies, whether they're real or imagined. You know, we can talk about tech all day, but I mean, one of the things you mentioned, Mimi, was control with like an iPad and not having to have direct input. I mean, I mean, in real life, right here, I mean, we had HIDIS systems in 1985, if anyone knows what that is. So that's integrated eye display. So when there were tests, obviously this is old school declassified stuff, but we had the IDIS helmets attached to Apache helicopters back in 1985. If we go back in time and you look into 1985 and I would have told you that, you would call me a fool and would laugh me out. That's the integrated control helmets. So it's what we use in surveillance planes. So basically, if I'm flying, everything is controlled with my eye. So if my eye fluctuates at this point, then it automatically triggers that information into my visor. I don't even need to touch the controls. This is 1985 technology.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing, eh?
So again, if you release that in 1985, what happens then? Then you've got the North Koreans, you've got the Middle East, you've got everyone tapping that technology, and we lose a strategic advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was talking about when they saw, I can't remember what they were called, the B2s, B2s, and you must know this, Brian.
Yeah, the B-52 is my favorite band in the late 70s. I saw them twice.
No, the little Nazi UFOs that they had. They were called B something, B2 something. Anyway, a B85 or
you're talking about the Messerschmitt 262. No, the Glock's a different one. The 262 was the German jet. So,
no. UFOs, like round.
Oh, okay.
Those guys, right? Because they were actually
the plans.
seeing them.
Yes. So those were the plans that were shared between the Canadian and the U.S. government that eventually fielded the Avros, the Avro flying disc.
I'm gonna post the documentary link on Meetup. So I'll do it tomorrow. I'll try and find the documentary. But they actually have film that pilots took and people took of that time when these things were actually flying. So that's what I'm saying. Same thing that you're saying. The technology was actually there, and it was probably really scary, right? Really scary to be seeing this technology and thinking that your enemy had it and you didn't, right? So because there's film of it.
That was the disc, the VZ9 that they came up with.
So Justin, do you think the Germans actually had flying saucers operational flying?
I absolutely believe it because
the VZ9,
I believe the film.
Yeah, they had demos, but it's like the Messerschmitt 262, right? Which was a jet propulsion plane. I mean, it could fly loops around any of the Allied planes. The problem with it was so advanced that it didn't really score any kills because it was so fast that it couldn't target the regular prop planes. It would zip by them. The other thing is that the technology was very cool, but it had deficiencies because it was a jet engine. Its fuel consumption was so much it could only stay airborne for less than 30 minutes. So by the time you took off, and then you figure out you've got to land, your combat time was very. I mean, again, it was in its infancy, and what Mimi's talking about was the VZ9 test, which they had the plans. The Soviets probably got those. The Allies never did, but the Allies got the plans, and that was what the U.S. and Canada joint. They combined their resources, and that they developed that in the 1950s and 60s. That was the Avro car.
What kind of power was it? Just like a propeller going around, or was this really
no propeller? No, it seemed to be where one wheel is turning one way and the other one the other way, and they create energy that way. It looks like that's what it was. I mean, yeah, it makes sense that it only lasted half an hour because I don't even know if we have that now. Maybe we do, but the film looked very real to me. I believed it, and I'm very suspicious of everything. I don't believe anything, but
that's real. That's real tech. You can actually get the plans for the Avro car online now. I mean, obviously it's been declassified since the 60s. But I mean, it was a real project. It was brought over by Operation Paperclip.
Right.
It's historically proven. It's not a myth. We've got
right.
documents.
Okay. Yeah, because it looked really real to me when I saw it. Right. In this documentary, and I'll post the the link. It was
Yeah,
really,
post a link
really
in the
good.
meetup, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I didn't mention on the meetup site, I had 2 polls. You can do a poll and meetup, but no one answered. One poll was, should we be activists and push for UFO disclosure, like hold signs and go to Vancouver City Hall and say, give us UFO disclosure. There's a base under City Hall, something political, and it'd be good video, you know, make a YouTube video out of it. I wonder if anyone would be interested in joining me. I'm the type of person I would do that, go out with a sign and a video camera.
Well,
It's
here's something
probably
interesting for
totally
you,
the
Brian.
wrong
There
time
was a,
right now. No one would care right now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right.
You know,
Black
Carrie
Lives Matter will
Cassidy,
get 3,000, right?
Carrie Cassidy believes that all of this is being done by the aliens. She's been deplatformed on everything. Right now because
I think she's right.
her views are pretty fringy, you know, pretty out there and very daring. And she says that it's alien AI that's creating all of this. And she basically says that COVID has run away from everybody. They don't have control of it. You know, she doesn't believe that even if it was created, that they don't have control of it anymore. You know, that AI has control of it. She's done some very interesting talks about it.
I've listened to some. Yeah, she's very good. I really recommend Carrie Cassidy.
Well, they've taken a lot of her videos down, and so now she has Project Camelot TV, her website. She's doing all her stuff on her website, and there's some really interesting stuff. Some of her ideas are very interesting.
Yeah, good guess.
About everything.
Yeah.
But you know, I think aliens and all of this stuff has been basically forgotten right now.
Well, that's our job. We're the UFO meetup site, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in activism and having a push for a disclosure event or something.
I think citizen disclosure is the only thing. You know.
Yeah.
well, here's something I guess you heard a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you aware that there was a UFO crash in Lake Winnipeg a few years ago?
Lake
Are you aware that
Winnipeg?
there was a UFO crash in Lake Winnipeg a few years ago?
I didn't hear that. No.
The Canadian Armed Forces. If you type it up, you'll actually see an object. The Canadian Armed Forces, and it was on the radio, pulled up an unknown object, and they gave it over to the U.S. Mysterious object. There was no questions asked. It was just a straight hand over to the U.S. It was just a little blip on the radio, and there you'll see stuff on the internet about this, and it shows some sort of strange objects being pulled out of Lake Winnipeg and being put on trucks. And the Canadian Armed Forces, you know, did pull something out, but there was no disclosure. After that, it was just silent, just you get static after that.
Wow, look that up. That's fascinating. Yeah, the Americans just swoop in.
That's quite the interesting story because when I heard about it. But I think the Americans do have the key for time machine. That's my idea. Like I told you, to have that telephone for time is to contact, you know, change time a little bit just by finding out people, like, you know, contacting like their great grandmother, for example. If you know the time, the place, the number, contact her, you know, from 2020, and yet you're talking to her in 1969. So I believe that.
I just got this great idea, develop a time phone. You can phone back to someone 50, 60 years ago. That's a cool idea.
Because why are you talking to dead people? You know, it's always been a disaster. Every time somebody's had mediums or whatever, they always has dead people, and there's always been one disaster after another. So it hit to me because I was in the Ghost Hunter Society, and I had a bad experience with that. But it hit me. Well, why am I talking to dead people? Why can't I talk to living people? And that's the idea I came up with.
So how do you build it? That's a question.
Electromagnetics. I believe that there's electromagnetics is a key role that plays part of it, because if you can speed up electromagnetics and somehow go through that time space continuum, you know, there's a way I believe that is possible. They can actually go make a phone call, like whether to your great grandmother or to President Eisenhower or to whoever you want to talk to, right? To warn them about something or whatever, right? So it's kind of a neat idea that you can change history that way. You know, and things could be a bit different.
So you had a heavy duty paranormal experience?
with
Like a negative?
I'm sorry, like a what?
You had a negative paranormal experience?
Yeah, when I was at the ghost hunters, I had one of those ghost boxes, and I was trying to figure out like stuff and asking the questions. I had the meters and everything in. Well, basically, a bad spirit followed me home because there were things that were just absolutely gone wacko. And I remember when I broke that ghost box. I was I lay awake and I was awake at nights, just completely scared. Right out of my gourd, like you're just completely scared. And when I destroyed the black box, or sorry, the ghost box, they call it, it was like a couple of serpents, or like invisible-ish, whitish looking snakes, sort of came like right out of the thing. And since then, that's when things calmed down. But yeah, it really had bad experiences for the past few days after.
My mother used to
I was
do
in the graveyard with the Ghost Hunter Society, and
my mom used to do Ouija board, and when she did it, I would leave the house. I liked it. I didn't ever want to do it. And one time she did it, and they got a bad spirit. My mother and my brother did it, and there was furniture flying and the lights going up, on and off all over the house, and just real bad. And she never did it again. Actually, she became a Jehovah's Witness after that. She got really scared. Yeah, it was a very bad negative situation that happened.
Joseph was into this ghost hunting last UFO meetup, right? UFOs and paranormal. Joseph has an interest in that too.
Yeah. I've done some paranormal. Actually, did some in Vancouver. Well, I did a lot when I was in the States, paranormal investigation and research. Actually,
Kelly was just on tonight.
With
she
Kelly,
came to your meetings. Yeah, Kelly's
Kelly
part
was
of that
part
whole
of that
society, right?
Yeah, she was part of the investigation group.
yeah, it's a scary feeling because you don't know what you're playing with, what comes through sometimes with the ghost box or these things, right? And I was kind of curious, at the time. My thought was two things. My grandmother died, and I actually seen her, and she came right up to me, and I saw her for about a few seconds, and then she disappeared. And this is a few days after she died, and it kind of got to me at the time. I was thinking, well, that I was kind of close to my grandmother, and maybe have that opportunity to talk to her once again or say hello or whatever. So, I was kind of curious about other things as well, and it was my thinking, well, talk to using the ghost box. Okay, well, I see it on TV on the ghost centers, and that looks cool, and that looks neat.
Oh no.
But then after that experience, that's when it hit me. Well, why can't I invent a machine where I talk to living people now? Because if I talk to dead people, I get into all this trouble and all these crazy things happening. Well, that's why I invented the telephone for time. Just talk to somebody alive in 1946 or 47. You can talk to them, and
wow.
instead of talk to dead people.
Like a time machine.
But you have to invent it. That's not so easy to invent.
Yeah, it's all in here, but the thing is that unless we get the technology, that's another reason why I have my theories of basically picking up an alien to capture one. Is probably they could probably give me ideas or plans or whatever, like how to go about this. But I mean, I have it in theory in my head, like what it would look like and what to do. But I mean, to help with building the thing and again the right power sources and whatnot. But the thing is, the drawback would be for this idea is the Men in Black might be coming around and paying me a few visits.
If you catch an alien, the other aliens would probably free the alien. It's probably not up to you. It's up to them.
Well, you ever heard of that story? It's on the internet there, where that person shot an alien with a shotgun.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
You speak there?
That's ignorant, right? That's pretty ignorant.
But it was kind of...
if it's true.
They made a movie about that, but there was actually supposedly a real-life incident that actually happened, that somebody shot an alien and so forth and so on, and that they held the alien in this person's arms. And when I was down, I forget the name of the lake. It's a lake in the States somewhere, but anyways, it was based on a true story.
Mm.
But I get a lot of my info about UFOs really. If you watch the show, there's that show that by the MUFON UFO files that have been released. You know, to show that that's supposedly a secret hangar somewhere that they have MUFON files that they are releasing, and they have like about 2 or 3 episodes of various abductions or aliens.
This Project Blue Book is on History Channel. And that's,
So that's
from Hangar 51.
Yeah, that's Hangar 51. That's the one.
Yeah.
The one on.
Where is it though?
Joseph and Andrew, are you guys experiencers?
Of the Men in Black. That's about how close I've experienced them, but I've seen the Men in Black and talked to them eyeball to eyeball.
Right. Yeah. What about you, Joseph? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Are you an experiencer?
I've experienced and seen things that I can't fully explain. Probably not as much as some other people, but my interest is more on the discovery and investigation side of things.
Right. But yeah, a lot of
Well,
times people get interested because they've had experiences, right? I mean, some people are just interested, but
no, I've seen things that can't be explained, and,
right,
and that's
right,
and that's as an actual witness, not third party. So for me, it's quite fascinating.
What I believe in capturing an alien is everything has a frequency. As I told Brian one time, is what the dog whistle. You know, when you blow a dog whistle, a dog can hear it, but a human being can't hear it. The human soul has a certain frequency, and I believe that these aliens might operate on the frequency as well. You know, just try to find out what that frequency is. And just like when you're going fishing, you have bait attached to your hook. You know, just bait them in and reel them in.
Well, I've been trying to see my guys for years, and I can't reel them in. I really want to. I would like to ask them a lot of questions, but I can't. They don't come back.
Well, try. Best thing I could try is that if I was to really go after one is that basically just you know, like I know that supposedly they take over your mind or your whole body, your whole body freezes and whatnot. I've read the reports, but have you ever tried like fighting with your mind against their thoughts, against their will, like just try to really like punch through, so to speak, that barrier that they put up? Because I've read about that many times, that there's a barrier that that's why they don't want people to remember.
There's a memory barrier for sure. Yes. Yeah. There is. Yeah.
I was
And
paralyzed
I've
repeatedly as a
definitely
kid.
fought against it, and I do remember more and more about it. But for many, many years, I didn't remember anything except seeing it and running away from it. But now I remember more.
I was paralyzed a lot as a little kid, like age 5 to 8, laying in bed, like an out-of-body experience, except I cling to the bed and I stay in my body. But it was a paralysis at a vibrational state. But I don't associate with the aliens. I just think it's like an astral body, astral travel experience.
Oh yeah, little children definitely astral travel. I think I used to do it a lot. I used to put myself to sleep that way.
Wow.
When I was little.
Wow. Yeah.
Remember, I told you I used to.
Yeah, it's on your video. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I used to make myself small as opposed to leaving the body. I would make myself really, really small. And I try to do that now. I've been trying to do it. It's very interesting.
Here's the thing. Well, here's the thing that human beings can try is universal projection. I've read about that universal projection that the U.S. military has experienced, that where people are given various situations or are told about or whatever, told about a certain place and what they see and whatnot. I've heard that it actually works. Universal projection.
You mean remote viewing?
Or remote viewing, that's the one.
Oh,
okay,
yeah. Yeah, like Ingo Swann was the greatest at that. Yeah, he saw the rings of Jupiter in 1974.
Well, guys, I'm going to go because I have to eat something.
Yeah, me too. I guess Joseph is just starting his day here. He can touch.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're getting tired. I gotta eat and go.
I gotta go make breakfast. Cheers, guys.
Great to
Good
see
seeing
you,
everybody.
Joseph. Great to meet you, Andrew. Well, let's do this again. Maybe in 4 weeks we can do another Zoom.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks. Let's do that. Let's plan
let's do
something.
that.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
We'll put
All
on
right.
Meetup.
Bye-bye, everybody.
See you guys.
This
good
time
night,
for
guys.
real.
You see you.